Welcome to Pointy End. I'm Keith Sutherland. Today my guest is Michelle Goldsmith, endorsed Greens candidate for the City of Greater Bendigo. So welcome to the program.
Thanks for the opportunity, Keith.
Now it's a bit unusual being the endorsed Green candidate standing for Bendigo, because most people when they get on local government council don't usually talk about their affiliations with any political parties, but I notice that you are the endorsed one, which has got to be meaning something from the Greens' point of view. So just explain that firstly.
Okay, well, firstly I'd like to say that it's actually not that unusual,
Isn't it?
For local government candidates to be endorsed candidates. Happens quite regularly.
But no one talks about it, that's the thing.
Not in Bendigo, no, and not in a lot of, look, it's an arguable point, but I would say that it's not that unusual. Maybe it's just a bit unusual in Bendigo.
Bendigo, yep.
I'm a member of the Greens, and anyone who's paid attention for more than 5 minutes knows that, I think. And so I think it would be pretty silly of me to kind of try and deny that if I'm putting my hand up for local government. The rules of Greens membership is particularly that if you do stand for local government, if you are a member, you need to declare that and you need to be endorsed. And that's because of transparency, and I think it's honest. Mainly, I think, as I said, people in Bendigo know that they know my connections to the Greens, and I really would like to not to be an issue with people saying, she's a closet Green. I'm not. I'm a Green. I'm Greens endorsed. It's a shortcut to...
I'm proud of it, and that's fine.
It's a shortcut to my values. There's 4 pillars of Greens policy. They are social justice, ecological wisdom, grassroots democracy, and non-violence, peace and non-violence. I don't see what's wrong with any of that. And if people care to look, they'll get a good guide about what that might mean.
As you said, it's a good thing to have it up front, because we've seen what's happened in the Gold Coast elections, the council, and there's various people that are endorsed by various political parties, and now the flax comes through because no one declared themselves. But anyway, just give me a little bit of background on yourself, what you belong to, other than the Greens, we know that, but I noticed that you're a critical care unit nurse at St John of God.
That's
so
right.
Just a bit of background on yourself so that the public know who they might be voting for come October.
Sure. So I'm 47. I'm married to Peter. We've been married for,
a lot of years.
About 20 years. I've lived in Bendigo for all but 7 of my 47 years. And primarily Ironbark, Eaglehawk. I would say that I'm an Eaglehawk girl. I've worked at St John of God, and I've worked at Bendigo Health. I'm a registered psychiatric nurse, as well as a registered Division 1. Well, they're all Division 1, but I'd like to hang on to that psych nurse qualification. And as I say, I work in critical care. I talk to lots of people. I have a very strong focus on human capital, the human value of what we, of how we support people in Bendigo. And when you see people at that pointy end of illness and the things that take them there, does give you a good view of how perhaps life could be better for people.
Okay, bit of a social conscience. I noticed in some of your platform basically is that platform of investment, job creation and industry diversity and inclusion, which is some of the values you were saying, espousing what the Greens are trying to achieve in our community. So they're sort of the areas which is a pretty broad platform that you're wanting to be elected on.
On a personal level, I think one of the things that have really, obviously I'm very interested in politics, the political process and how that translates to people's lives and how that actually makes ordinary people's lives better. And I consider myself to be an ordinary person, and I hope to bring that to council. But one of the things that motivates me greatly to get involved in local government in Bendigo is the current and the ongoing divisions that have been created in our community around the building of the mosque.
Mosque, yes.
It really has uncovered a lot of, should I say, there's certain elements perhaps on council and coming from outside of Bendigo that have emboldened some people who perhaps hold quite...
So you support the mosque?
Absolutely. I support diversity and I support inclusion, and that must cover supporting the building of a mosque and the welcoming of people from all cultures and backgrounds to Bendigo, because that's what enriches our human capital. Also, there's a fair bit of division around, when I talk about diversity, I'm talking about, frankly, supporting people and empowering people who are of gender diverse backgrounds to, and some of the stuff around anti-homophobic bullying in the community, particularly for young people, really needs to be at the forefront. If we're talking about healthy communities, we're talking about diversity and inclusion in both of those areas. We don't attract the best of human capital to Bendigo if we don't really show that that's what we're about in Bendigo. That's what creates job opportunity. That's what creates a drive to progressive industry that is creative industries and industries in new clean energy manufacturing and investment and things like that. Businesses that want to invest in Bendigo, they want to know that they're investing in a community and a city, a regional city, that is representative of the Australian community, and it's not, should I say, it's not an embarrassment.
No. Just coming back to that, you would support then obviously safe schools, because one of the local councillors in City of Greater Bendigo does not support that. So I was just interested in your thoughts on that one as well.
Yes, I do. I think that you, regardless of any of your misgivings around what that might be, I think that if you are interested in evidence-based programs which cater for preventing classic bullying in our schools that damages people's lives permanently. I've spoken to friends who have relatives who they've killed themselves because they are not heterosexual, they don't fit into that norm, or they express themselves differently. You should not be killing yourself for those reasons, and one person is too many.
Too many.
Safe Schools is based on evidence, and it's supported by peak bodies, educational specialists. It's backed by the state government. It's a good thing, should happen.
Now back to local government. Have you had a passion for that for a long period of time, or is it just you feel you've got something to offer the community with your passion about all these various areas? And obviously you're talking about green, clean energy, and that's something in the future, renewables. We all should be having a head around that. But
I believe so.
Yeah, so that's the reason you've been thinking about local government for a while. I know you're a prolific letter writer as well, so you are concerned about the community in which we live.
Yeah, yeah, all those things, Keith. Yes, absolutely. I think that by and large, I mean, there's a lot of council bashing that goes on. It seems to be, I'm not sure if that may be an easy way of getting votes. I think that the council is reasonably progressive. I think that it tries really hard, and I'd like to get involved in that. I'd like to promote those progressive elements that are on council. I see working on council as being a really collaborative, particularly in the wards, with your 3-member wards, being a really collaborative process. And I would think within that ward, each of those 3 members have different skills and views and that we can work towards. And if we focus on making the community and what the community prioritises as their needs, if 3 people get to work on that together, it's got to be good. And that's really my philosophy around that. And I do have a passion for doing that, for making
a change. I think is
really visible.
Why Whipstick Ward? Is it because there's a vacancy with Councillor Lisa Raffel not going forward, not nominating again? Or you mentioned before that you grew up Eagle Hawk, Long Gully area. So is that the reason for Whipstick? And it's an obvious fit, of course, but I have to ask that question.
Well, the ward's really, it's very big and it is really quite diverse. You've got, the ward comes all the way down into central Bendigo here, goes all the way out to Elmore, out to Woodvale, and it's quite diverse. I feel coming from Ironbark, Eagle Hawk, that area, Long Gully, I really think that I understand that area, and I understand the demographic, and I understand you know, I understand some of the disadvantage that exists there. We're seeing that in the papers now. We know that's there, and that translates in lots of ways to what we see in our whole community of Bendigo. Yeah, standing in Whipstick because I live there. It's my home.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you? I feel I understand it. And I do think there is an opportunity there. I think it's important to have women, progressive women on council. I consider myself to be a woman and progressive. And yeah, simply, there is a vacancy there. So put your hand up.
Okay, finally, how do you expect to get your message out? Are you doing some door knocking? I know the Greens will probably, we obviously can't be anything done at this point in time because there's a federal election coming up in 7 weeks. How do you expect to get your message out? Just newspaper reports? Do you use social media? How are you getting your message out that you're the candidate for Whipstick and you want to be elected? So it's a difficult thing, and unless you've got a committee, a band of supporters behind you, it is difficult.
So exactly as you say, I'm heavily involved in supporting Rosemary Glacier in the federal election here as our Greens candidate. But that means that I have that opportunity to be on stalls and to actually be door knocking with her as part of that campaign. It's an ongoing thing. I can hear what people are saying when they're talking with Rosemary and when I'm having those conversations on market stalls and such like as well. It may not be that I'm necessarily pushing myself as council candidate at that time, but what I am doing is actually talking to people about their issues and hearing what they're saying and the messages that they're conveying, because all of, you know, these levels of government, they all do connect. Even though the process is different, they connect, and people's issues are people's issues and they filter through. So we'll be enjoying starting to listen to those sorts of things with the council elections being 6 months away. I'm not big on social media, and I think you need to stick to your strengths, so there won't be a lot of stuff around that with Facebook. I will continue doing, like, I think they call them listening posts and such at supermarkets. I think it's great to you know, sort of be visible for people to approach. Door knocking's probably not my strong point. I know that it's important, but you know, there's that boundary of, you know, annoying people.
Well, you've got to work and you've got to have time, and there's work-life balance, so it's very difficult.
Yeah, but I will be, you know, I will be getting, I've got my own little Facebook thing, and we will create one through the Greens page, and I will have contact numbers on there, and I will be having a phone dedicated to that. I'll be happy to be taking people's calls. I'll be sort of out and about trying to catch up with various groups in communities and seeing if they want to talk and connecting with those. And already people are, it's just been amazing to have actually just been in the paper, even just once, to say, oh, I'm doing this. I go up the street and people are talking to me now, so that's fantastic. So if people, I'm really pleased for people to come up and have a chat, and I think that's a big thing in local government too, so that's happening already, so that's great.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for appearing on the Pointy End. Really appreciate it. Good luck with your campaign. No doubt coming closer to the election time, we'll be running some panels from IPTV, so I do appreciate you appearing on the program this morning.
Thanks very much, that'll be great.
Thank you.